Hi, hello, welcome. What just happened? So it's back to school season, and I always watch this sort of videos to kind of get me motivated to go back to school, even though I'm like a university right now, and it's like these videos are like meant for like high schoolers or like middle schoolers, and I still like watch them. Tell me like what is going on. Like I want to be as prepared as I can, I guess. I don't know. And this always kind of like gets me in the mood for school. So that's why this year I decided to kind of make this sort of like back to school advice. I feel like this is advice that I would need, that I still need today. These are some things that I have to remind myself every day. This is like things that no one really tells you, they're like, don't procrastinate, or like keep a planner. Like, okay, yes, thank you, we know that. But I feel like there are like more important things that you should know and always keep in the back of your head, always like in your mind, so that you kind of don't lose yourself in this like whole situation, because it's difficult. And it doesn't really matter where in the education like system you're at, even if you're at elementary school or middle school or high school or like college, university, like whatever you are doing, this advice is like universal. And the younger you realize like these things and you absorb these lessons that I'm like trying to convey, the better time you're gonna have like at school, in your whole like education, everything. You're gonna be better at this the sooner you realize this. But even if it's like not really soon, even if you figure this out in college, it's not too late. It's never too late. Like some of these things I realized yesterday, and some of these things I was like aware in middle school. So like it doesn't really matter, but it's important to know all of this to some extent. If something sticks with you, feel free to like borrow it and try it out. If it doesn't and it's like not your jam, that's also super fine. I'm not some sort of expert at like school, but like, are there even experts for this? I don't think so, like teachers, but like that's not what we're doing here. Okay, anyways, so yeah, let's get started. First of all, who am I to tell you all of this? Well, I think I'm qualified to give some sort of advice. I mean, kind of, because I did well in school, especially like in high school and middle school. I mean, not to like toot my own horn, but like beep beep bitch, like I was a straight A student like from start to finish. I was a nerd basically. Yeah. So anyways, so I think I have like some sort of ground to give you advice, and I did all of this with like as little effort as possible. Like I'm not like super smart, that was like not the secret. Basically the first thing that you need to know about, school and your education is to not take it seriously. And I know that kind of like contradicts things. It's like it's supposed to be serious, it's supposed to be a priority. Educate what? Education is like super important. These are things that you're gonna hear everywhere, and you're gonna be like, okay. But also, like, it's supposed to be fun. Like, these are your fun years. As long as you're doing like the best that you can, and everyone's best is different, like, you're okay. Just like, don't take things too seriously, just like laugh it out. It's really not necessary, and you're not gonna be good at everything. Like, it's fine. I sucked at like sports and stuff. And when I was younger, I was like super like, I don't know, embarrassed by it. I mean, when I was like in elementary school, I was like so stressed out. I was like, oh my god, everyone is so good at sports and I can't play anything to save my life. I was upset about it, but then like as the years went on, I was just like laughing it off. I was like, I'm bad at sports, and this is like a known fact. And I would always like laugh about it with my teachers, with like everyone. I was like, yo, I'm bad at this, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna do my best, but just so you know, there's no like talent to discover here, and the teachers would know and like laugh it out. So if you're bad at like maths or something, like don't be embarrassed about it. Don't be just like, not everything is for everyone, and your teachers will understand that. Like hopefully, like no one is looking at you and being like, you're the next protege here, you're gonna be like the next best thing that happens to science. Like no one is looking at you like that. Just don't take things too seriously. And this also applies, with your life, with your friends or relationships or anything that you have. And just like don't stress about them too much, which is easier said than done. And I know this because especially when you're younger, like everything feels like it's the end of the world. Like every friendship, like every single thing that happens to you feels like it's gonna have this like enormous influence, in your life. Everything feels like heightened, like so much. So you're like, I cannot like be chill about this. Like I'm gonna stress out about this. Like this is serious. Like this is my life. It's serious. You don't get it. And trust me when I tell you, it's not. Like it's not that serious. Just like let things unfold as they are. And when it comes to relationships, they can feel like the end of the world. When you love someone like so intensely, like you have a crush on them, they're the perfect person, they're the only one for you, and it feels like crazy. And when you get your heart broken, it feels like the same, but like the opposite, like all the negative emotions. It feels like it's never gonna end, like you are just like so heartbroken. And there's no avoiding these things, and I think it helps to know that this is how you're gonna feel about things, and that is okay. So however you feel, like even if you feel like super extreme about a situation that it's probably not, just let your emotions be. Feel however you want to feel. If you want to love someone so intensely, do it and don't care. If you don't, then don't. Just do whatever feels like unique to your emotions. And especially growing up, they're gonna change. They're gonna change like pretty quickly. You're gonna have one crush today and another one in like 2 weeks, and that is fine. Just like don't force things, and like follow your emotions as they come. So you're gonna change also as a person, and let that happen. You don't have to box yourself in any situation. Basically just like do whatever feels organic to you at that moment. Basically, like, don't feel pressure to do things that you don't want to do, and also like don't like withhold things that you want to do but you feel like you're gonna get judged. This goes like both ways. So basically do whatever you want to do and don't apologize about it. And if you change your opinion about something, that is also okay. If you're one person today and another tomorrow, or you change your opinion on something, don't be embarrassed about it. Don't feel like you have to know yourself and you kind of have to have all of these opinions formed or your life like together at some point. Like, please don't ever feel like that. It's fine. As long as you're being true to yourself in this exact moment, that's all that matters. And if you change tomorrow, that's also fine. And you don't have to stress about like not having friends or not being in a relationship. And I know that that's really big for a lot of people, because I also felt like this. And all of these things are temporary, because now when I look back, there were periods of my life where I didn't have any friends, and there were periods of my life when I had like 20 friends and I didn't even have time for all of them, and it's like so temporary. Everything is so temporary. And wherever you are in your journey right now, just know that it will change, sometimes to the better, sometimes for the worse. And that is completely okay. Everything is super like fast paced when you're at school. So like everything kind of like changes really fast. So like don't stress about your current situation. And that especially applies for if you're single. and you're stressing because everyone is in a relationship, everyone has a high school sweetheart. And let me tell you being single is the most like temporary thing that can happen. So if it's not like happening to you right now, if you're not in any relationship, just like be grateful about it. Be grateful about the free time that you have. You can focus on your studies, you can focus on yourself. Like, oh my god, there's so much growing that you can do as a person that you need to do while you're still at school. You basically have time to build your life around you and not around another person, which like can happen a lot if you are in a relationship like in middle school or high school. So, if you have time to focus on yourself, please do that. Okay, enough with like the relationship advice. Let's get back to school. So another advice that I have for school, which is also like weird, is to appreciate everything that you have to learn. And I know that a lot of the things are super weird. Like I still remember like some of the things that we like studied and I'm like, what was that? That's not it. But be appreciative of everything because you're never in your life going to be exposed to that much information ever again. Because I'm at university right now, I study medicine, and besides that, like I have like no other way of learning anything else except if I'm like, curious enough myself to go and like look something up, and that like doesn't really happen that much. Be appreciative of everything that you kind of have to learn and like the different topics that you're being exposed to, and like appreciate, like try out everything. Basically try as many things as you can, as many classes as you can, and like learn about different things, because later at college or like university or anything, you're gonna be able to focus on like one thing and you're gonna probably do it for the rest of your life. So if you're younger, just like appreciate every subject, even if you find it kind of boring, which I know a lot of the things like feel boring at the time, but later on you're probably gonna regret it if you don't like try everything out. And that thing for me was like history. I hated history. Like I couldn't be asked, like I couldn't be bothered with it. Like I'm so sorry. Like I was so fed up. I was like, I'm not about to learn like bunch of shit about dead people. Like I'm so sorry. Like I give zero fucks. Like that was me. Like I was not having it, like 0%. And now like I feel kind of bad because I'm like so bad at history that I had to like educate myself on it like later on, because it sucks. And I was like, I was at school, I was forced to learn this sort of information and I didn't really focus on it. And now I feel bad about it because I was like so pissed at that subject. Oh my fucking god, that I didn't like appreciate it. Like 0%. I learned nothing. Like I was so stubborn. I hated the subject so much that I was so stubborn and I didn't want to learn anything. I was like, no, miss me with this bullshit. And then I kind of like felt bad because like I said, I went to like medicine and I study science now and it has like zero things to do with history. So I'm like, damn, that was like my only chance to learn some things, and now like I don't have that anymore. So like don't be like stupid like me and ignore some subjects because you are like dumb and stupid. So if you're not good at like math or like science, whatever, just like find a way to appreciate and learn as much as you can in the moment, and just like move on to like things that you like better, and it's gonna be okay. Just like don't be stupid like me and like ignore and be like so stubborn about some subjects, and like so, because you're gonna be like so ignorant later on if you don't learn some things. And you don't want to turn into like an ignorant adult, because when you're still learning, when you're at school, like it's okay to not know things, it's expected of you not to know things. But later on as an adult, if you don't know some certain things, it's like you become like this ignorant person. So just like don't ignore some information just because it's not your favorite subject or you don't like your teacher or like something like that. Just like try to learn a little bit of everything, basically. That brings me to another topic, which is teachers. And another statement that you don't want to hear, but it's kind of true. Teachers are not your enemy. And I know that sometimes it feels like that, especially if you have a teacher that kind of like hates you, or you have a subject that you don't like and your teacher is kind of like making you do things and you're like, oh my god, I hate this person, I hate this subject, I hate myself and I hate my life, you know, and you're like so done. I know, but just remember, always keep this kind of like always keep this like thought in your mind of being like, this person is not my enemy. Like, the teachers are not your enemies. They're doing their best. And I know that some are better than others. You know, there are like some problematic teachers out there, but they're problematic people everywhere, like I know. But most of them, and like the majority of them, are just like doing their best. I know that it's weird, but it's this kind of dynamic that you kind of have to have with someone, you know, because they kind of have to be, you know, a little firm so you take them seriously, but they also like kind of have to be chill enough so that they are not monsters, basically. It's a fine line that they have to stream fine line by Harry Sacks. No, but it's a fine line that teachers have to walk to be like a good teacher, to actually do their job well. And I know that it doesn't translate always like that, but just remember that they are trying their best and they're not your enemy. I know that it's like a popular thought to like hate your teachers and be like so, I don't know, wild and a rebel or like something, but that's not cool, you know, because you're gonna end up like Jake Paul. And that's just like not a person that you like want to be. Okay, so another thing is, I know that, you know, education in school can feel super important at times, but I want you to remember that the most important thing is your mental health. And it should always be you and your mental health at first place, and then, you know, school and relationships and friendships, you know, everything else. Basically, your education is a marathon, not a sprint, and you have to treat it like that if you want to do your best. And that means that sometimes you're gonna have to focus on yourself, you know, and sometimes you're gonna have to be like, I'm not gonna do this. Actually, I'm not gonna pull an all-nighter to write this one paper, because then I'm gonna be tired the whole week and then I'm gonna just like abandon everything. My mental health is gonna deteriorate. So, and what I mean, it's a marathon and not a sprint. Basically, you kind of have to keep this like steady and slow pace for like a long time. You know, you don't want to sprint in a marathon because you're gonna get tired so fast and you're not gonna be able to finish it, right? I mean, like I said, I'm bad at sports, but I think it's a good metaphor or something. So just remember that if you feel like you're sprinting sometimes with your schoolwork or everything, just like slow it down and remember that, you know, it's a marathon. So sometimes you're gonna have to let some things kind of pass you by just so you can keep a good mental health and just like be in a good place to continue tomorrow, because you don't want to burn yourself out in like 1 year and then like be completely done with it, you know, or just like basically destroy your mental health because you are just like doing everything and anything for your education. It doesn't help anyone, you know, it doesn't help anyone. So just, you know, always keep that like one thing in mind, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So like check yourself sometimes, like, am I sprinting right now? Am I sprinting in this marathon? If you are, you have to like slow down, focus on your mental health, focus on yourself for a while, and just like it's gonna be okay. So basically that's all the advice that I have right now. That's all I can think of. So yeah, I'm gonna go now and I'm gonna watch this sort of videos myself because I need to get motivated for the next school year because I still have a lot of running in my marathon. So yeah. Thank you for watching all of this. I hope it was helpful. If not, I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I have other videos. You can check them out. You can like, you can subscribe, you can basically do whatever you want to do, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Just think about it right now. Everything's okay. No matter where you find yourself, no matter what kind of stuff is going on in your life, underneath it all, everything's actually all right.